The anime begins in the royal capital of Paluma, a world where demi-humans are slaves, and the treatment of demi-humans is harsh. But only Bonzo was the one who showed kindness to demi-humans and paid extra for their hard work. The demi-humans tried to return the money, knowing other humans would look down on Bonzo for showing kindness to them, but his assistant Quinn told the guy to accept it since Bonzo wouldn't back down. Bonzo wanted equality for both humans and demi-humans, but suddenly his hands started to glow, and with a flash of light, he vanished and was summoned to an unknown place. In the Hero Kingdom, where Bonzo was summoned as a hero candidate. Then a minister told him they were battling against the Dark Army, so they had to summon heroes from other worlds. He brought out a crystal to assess Bonzo's powers, and all the hero candidates received divine blessings, powers beyond imagination. But Bonzo didn't receive the blessing, and he was just an ordinary guy with level 1. So Bonzo asked them to send him back home, but on his right side, a blonde guy got summoned with maxed out abilities. He was no doubt a hero, and everyone left Bonzo alone and didn't pay any attention to him. So the gate got closed, and he was left alone with no one. And even the king was busy with the blonde guy while ignoring Bonzo. He was on the balcony wishing to get back home, but the gate had just closed due to their negligence in ignoring Bonzo. And their inability to send Bonzo back was the failure of their nation. So the king decided to send Bonzo up to the north of the Daba forest, where he would live out the rest of his life. They excommunicated Bonzo to hide their mistake, and the next morning Bonzo was thrown into a carriage that would take him to the north. He tried to talk to the lizard men, but they were ordered not to talk with Bonzo. So the days went by, and he arrived in the north after 20 days. The king had given him a magic bag with unlimited storage, but before leaving, the lizard warned him that a dark army lurks in this forest, so he must stay alert. With that, he left Bonzo, and Bonzo was relieved that the magic bag worked the same as in his world. He had many things for survival, but he brought out a shiny sword first. Some slimes came out, but they looked harmless. He was wrong though, but with just a few hits, the blade reached its limit. Then a window showed Bonzo had just leveled up, and his stats had no number in them. Bonzo didn't know about this symbol, but it meant he gained an infinite cheat skill system. After that, his AI magic system warned him that his magic bag was enchanted with a monster luring location tracking spell, which explains why those slimes attacked him. It was the king's doing. He wanted to kill Bonzo by pulling these dirty tricks. So the system suggested the removal of the spell, and Bonzo agreed. Instead of getting angry, Bonzo thought of exploring the woods, but the system warned him of the malice ahead. Malice here is a gaseous thing that comes out of demons, and so the system wanted to purify the forest. Bonzo told the system to go right ahead, and with a big surge of divine power, the system purified the malice entirely. Now that he increased his level 100-fold, Bonzo was shocked by the notifications. Meanwhile, in the capital, the first princess tried to persuade her father that he did wrong with Bonzo, but the king couldn't care less what happens to a level 1 like him. Then a mage came out to inform him that large-scale divine power was detected. The king thought it must be from their overpowered blonde hero, but the mage corrected the king that the blonde hero was headed to the south, and the holy power came from the north, where they threw off Bonzo. Now, we have to wait to see their reaction when they see Bonzo. After a while, the level up notifications finally stopped at level 367, but he still doesn't get the symbol of infinity, so he told the system to hide such notifications from now on. So the system showed him the shape-shifting magic and turned him into a girl, but Bonzo was proud of his gender, so he reverted back to his original form. Instead, he changed his looks, and now he wanted to go to a town. The system suggested using teleportation magic, and with it, Bonzo returned to the capital. But it clicked in his mind, so he commanded the system to teleport him to his world, but nothing happened. He's stuck here. So he explored the town and thought of joining the merchant guild, but without any identification, it would be difficult. So Bonzo went to the Adventurers Guild to sign up, and there the receptionist gave him a briefing on the ranks of an adventurer. Bonzo was fine with it, and gave a fake name to register. He started from the lowest rank of E, but there he saw a girl begging the adventurers to escort her to the north with a little money. She wanted to go to that forest, where rumors say the Dark Army has gathered, so no one accepted her request. So Bonzo happily agreed to take her there with his teleportation magic, which shocked the whole room. Then the Night Lady Balasa came in to question Bonzo. They thought Banzo was a slave trader, because teleportation magic is the rarest of rare magic that barely anyone in this world could cast. So, he agreed to show them the spell and took them outside to prove it. He cast the teleportation magic and took them all to the north in mere seconds. Shocked by this, their mage Bolano thought Banzo must be a great sorcerer of the highest order, but he told her he's just a regular guy. Then Balasa apologized to him for her rudeness, and the kid was surprised that all the malice from the woods was gone. Banzo tried to tell him it was his doing, but the system warned him not to disclose his purification powers to a demon. The knights got on their guard because they heard a kid was lurking in the Adventurers Guild to escort her to Daba Forest, but whenever someone helped her, they vanished. After that, she showed her true colors at last. She was a demon of a high level and turned into a wolf. Her name was Fenri, younger sister of Pharrell, and her plans were to just observe as her brother ordered, that now she wants to kill all of them. But Bonzo sent the girls back to the capital with teleportation magic and stayed behind to fight Fenri and their Fenri attacks, and Bonzo used a leap spell to avoid her. The second time he blocked her attack with earth magic. Fenri couldn't even come near Bonzo, and in the end he used a gravity spell to stop her. Banzo wanted to stop her without harming her, and the system suggested a subjugation spell that could manipulate the target and its thoughts. Banzo didn't like it, and Fenri was trying to break free. The system kept nullifying her spells and kept suggesting to Banza to use subjugation. But if he did, the girl would practically become his slave. Banza didn't know what to do, but luckily, Fenri gave up and surrendered as she exhausted her magic. She was prepared for her death, but Banza took off his spell. He thought demons and humans weren't any different, so he didn't want to kill her. Fenri gave up and turned back, but she had no clothes. So Banza gave her a cloak and asked her not to fight humans and return home. He pulled out some clothes from his inventory, but Fenri passed out. She was just exhausted. So Banza set up a camp and was thinking about how others saw him when he mentioned the teleportation spell. There, Fenri woke up and saw Banza outside. So she came out wearing the clothes Banza gave her. She vowed to Banza that she wouldn't attack humans without any reason, wanting to repay him with her life. She was happy to be used as a slave as long as she could stay by his side. Banza didn't want to own people, so Fenri gave him puppy dog eyes to torture him, but Banza didn't give in. Fenri felt like she had no reason to live anymore, and that finally convinced Banza to let her follow him. At the royal castle, the maxed out hero came back with a shameful defeat in his first fight, having lost the majority of his troops. The king asked him what happened, and the blonde hero blamed the knights, saying they lacked discipline. He claimed that when the monsters showed up, the soldiers panicked and broke formation, but he saved as many knights as he could, so the king should be grateful. In reality, he had been at the back during the fight, and when the monster showed up, he was the first to run away, blaming the knights afterward. Despite his maxed out stats, the joke was that he hadn't learned any of his skills. His personal servant came out and the blonde hero took her out to enjoy the money the king had given him. Meanwhile, Banza and Fenri arrived in town and wanted to get a job and a house. A shopkeeper called Fenri Mada, thinking that Banza and Fenri were married. They did look like that, and Fenri was totally on board because the women of her tribe wanted nothing more than a strong husband. Even if it was just pretending, Fenri was still over the moon because, in her tribe, couples eat a bone from the prey they hunted together to bond. But there was an urgent quest announced to kill psycho bears in the north, a task that even the hero had failed to complete. Banza thought to skip it since even the hero couldn't defeat them, but Fenri asked to handle them herself, reasoning that if she could beat them, it would prove Banza was more powerful than the bears. When they arrived at the site, they heard a cry and saw that the knights were surrounded by the bears. Banza used a thunder spell to cook the bears, and Fenri joined in as well. This batch of knights was saved by Banza again, and he introduced Fenri as his traveling companion. However, Fenri was upset because the bear didn't dare lay a hand on her, and its surrender. Fenri had the idea to keep it as a pet. Others were scared because the terrifying bear was tamed by the two of them. They went to an inn and got to know each other better. The knights asked Banza to train them because, apparently, the hero was throwing a tantrum and refused to fight until the knights became stronger. The king had ordered the knights to get stronger to join the hero, and Barisa and her knight friend wanted to get stronger too. However, Banza wasn't sure because he depended on the system. Fenri didn't like the idea of having women around, but Banza told them he wanted to live comfortably with his wife to avoid them. Fenri changed her tune after hearing that and said it was fine for Banza to train them, so Banza agreed. Away from there, the demon general Yims reported to the demon king that Frey's force near Delay Forest had been wiped out by a random person, which piqued the demon lord's interest. He ordered them to bring him the person, no matter what. The next day, Bonza freaked out because of the way Fenry was gawking at him. They were staying in the same room, and Bonza remembered last night when she invited him to her bed, but the guy wanted to be prepared emotionally, which crushed her dream. She is a wolf, so her way of marriage is different. Bonza thought of sleeping outside, but if he did, Balasa and others might suspect their relationship, so Bonza had no other option but to sleep there. Fenry wanted to help Bonza change clothes, and Balasa walked in. She thought she was in their way, so she left. After that, Bonza started training the girls, but they were really a lost cause. Then Banza gave them a room because he got the home at a cheap price. Fenry made a meal for them, but again she's a wolf, and they eat their meat raw. So Bonza cooked the food and Balasa helped him out. She came from a fallen noble family, so she had to learn cooking. Fenry was sure it wouldn't taste good, but the salad was Bonza's work. She ate it and understood what real food tasted like. After that, Bonza and Fenry kept hunting a huge number of high-level beasts, so others were being skeptical of them. But then, Fenry wanted to go somewhere, and Bonza gave her permission. The guildmaster called Banza out to his office and told him that he had received an invitation to work under the hero to save humanity from demons. Banza had been hunting down A-rank beasts, so it caught the attention of others. The guildmaster thought it was a good chance for Banza to save the world and earn a title for himself. But still, Banza is from another world, so he doesn't have any obligation to save others and fight demons. So he rejected the offer. When he got out, Fenry was totally beat up. She couldn't tell how she messed up in her cooking class, but she looked like a mess. She did everything extra and messed up while practicing, but she still wants to learn cooking for her hubby. On the other side, that useless piece of trash heard about Bonza and Fenry, and his servant thought it would be great if they served under him. So Blondie ordered them to be brought to him, but Bonza kept rejecting them for over a month, which got annoying. Then Blossom was tending the farm fields as she came from a farmer's family. She got help from their pet, and Fenry was teaching Bai about archery. Delano was exhausted from using magic, so Bonza gave her a ring that would increase her magic capacity. She tried to wear it on her ring finger, but she received a death threat if she did that. Balasa acted like she was in trouble, and Fenry took care of it. She planned to get Bonza's attention, and Fenry knew it very well, but something was going on out there. At night, Fenry made a huge feast, as she had finally learned cooking. She worked really hard to make Bonza happy. She even made a special dish that her teacher suggested to make her man happy. It was curry, and Bonza loved it. Yimas was shocked to see the most feared female warrior in the demon army acting cute like this. So Fenry went out to welcome her and invited Yulim inside. Yulim told Fenry she came there to investigate, nothing more. Fenry revealed she was staying with her husband, which was shocking news. Fenry asked her not to disturb her life. Yulim was still nervous, and even while she was there, Bonza wasn't scared at all. More so, she couldn't see Bon's level at all. Yulim brought up the Dilaba forest, where there were no monsters. Bonza said he had purified the area long ago. Yulim got upset and told Fenry how she could stay with the person who killed her brother and his entire troops. Fenry was stationed in that forest and already knew that her brother was killed by Bonza. As there are only a few people with purification powers, pitting his death would be an insult to her brother. Besides, Fenry said she fell in love with Bonza and his power and chose him as her master of her own free will, so her feelings won't change. The girls overheard the conversation, and Yulim thought Fenry had betrayed the demon army. So Yulim planned to fight Banza to take out both him and Fenry, but Fenry thought Yulim was trying to seduce Banza with the excuse of a fight. Even so, Banza accepted the duel, and the fight began. Yulim attempted to attack Banza and Fenry, but Banza cancelled her spell. He knew she was targeting Fenry as well. He caught her, and Yulim surrendered too easily. The next day, they revealed everything to the other girls, and Bonza said they could report it to the castle if they wanted to. Balasa thought that is what a knight should do, but they weren't so heartless after seeing how good these two were. Outside, Yimas brought the dragon gang, rumored to be the strongest force in the demon army, to kill Banza and Fenry. But Banza was rather excited to see a dragon. Men will be men. Banza cooked the lizard at the perfect temperature, and the ones who were left ran off for their lives. Blossom thought she could have landed the final hit too easily to get the Dragon Slayer title, so Banza told her to throw her tool. She did as he told her, and Banza used a spell on it. It got one of the dragons, and Blossom really got the title. Others wanted that too, but the dragons had already left, missing the chance. The Demon Lord saw the whole thing and decided to visit Banza himself. Banza made a barrier around the area to sense if another demon came over again, and Fenry was ready to fend off that cat if she dared to return. She became agitated just remembering her because Banza was so nice to her. Banza, however, couldn't help but feel guilty after finding out he was the one who killed Fen's brother. Yet, Fenrir knew everything and never minded. Meanwhile, Blossom couldn't stop staring at her new title, Dragon Slayer, all thanks to Bonza and his spell that helped her slay the dragon. Balasa, on the other hand, went off to hunt magic beasts again. Though she appeared disciplined and diligently training every day, she was secretly jealous because she also wanted the Dragon Slayer title. To her, just the title alone would be enough to earn her favor with the kingdom. If she had gained that title, she could have restored her noble family's status and reclaimed their home in the capital, which they lost when her father was a knight. Suddenly, a man arrived asking for directions, saying his friend lived in the area. Balasa grew suspicious and on guard, asking if he was friends with Foe. The man said his wife was, and Balasa deduced he was a demon. He told her he had just come to check up on her, and for now, she believed him but told him to return. Before leaving, the man said his name was Gozel and told her to mention it to Fenrir. Afterward, Bonza and Fenrir arrived and Balasa told them about the demon named Gozel. Fenrir immediately recognized that Gozel was a fake name, realizing the demon was actually the Dark One, or rather the Demon Lord himself. Balasa had unknowingly confronted the King of Demons and was now melting down from the realization of her bravery. The next day, Gozel dropped by the house again for a chat. This time, Banza met him and invited him in for a comfortable talk, with Balasa caught in the middle. Fenrir asked if Gozel's visit was for revenge, but Gozel got straight to the point and invited Bonza to join his army. Banza declined once more. Gozel assumed the Clyro kingdom must have been on edge, wanting Banza for themselves. But Banza lived secluded and informed him that he was not from this world. Banza refused to pick a side merely because he was human, and didn't understand the reason behind the war. Gozel was surprised no one had told Banza, and he admitted he didn't fully know the reason either. The war had been raging for over 500 years since the first Demon Lord ascended the throne. The first Demon Lord came from another world and was accepted by demons, who were oppressed by humans at the time. For 12 generations, every Demon Lord sought to rule the world, but Gozel was different. He had no interest in ruling, but still wanted to protect his people. He tried to convince Bonza to join him, but Bonza calmly rejected the offer again. Fenrir enjoyed the tea more than the conversation, while the Demon King was fascinated by Bonza's bravery. Still, Gozel didn't give up and left for now, but Balasa saw her life flash before her eyes. The next day, Gozel visited again, and Balasa ran away from him. The following day, he showed up once more, and Balasa ran again, continuing a comical cat-and-mouse chase. Eventually, a spy from the kingdom reported to the king that a demon kept visiting Banza. The king was ready to send his soldiers, but the first princess wisely advised him that it was unclear whether Banza had joined the demon army, and they might drive him to the demons if they upset him. She suggested they talk instead. However, the dumb, useless hero overheard and demanded soldiers, so he could visit Banza himself. Meanwhile, Gozel told Yimas he was trying to win Banza over, but she informed him that others were unhappy with Gozel's actions. Banza was considering starting a new business selling dragon-scale items to make a living, but someone crossed his barrier. It was the hero and his army. The hero gave Banza two options: join him or be labeled a traitor for associating with a demon. The useless fool thought Banza was nervous because he couldn't answer. The hero dreamed of beating the Demon King, but Banza rejected him, choosing not to side with humans or demons. The hero then labeled Banza a traitor, but the girls defended him, saying Banza was not a traitor. The hero gave them two options as well: either convince Banza to join, or be arrested. Tired of the hero's nonsense and how he involved innocent people, Banza decided to leave. Fenrir was on board, and the girls also wanted to go with them. They believed the war between humans and demons was pointless and refused to follow a trash hero who threatened innocent lives. With that decision, Banza teleported his house, even the farm fields, to a new location. No one could believe their eyes. Banza had moved everything, including the fields. Gozel arrived and saw the mess the hero had caused. He had worked so hard to earn Banza's trust that now Banza was lost without a trace. Gozel knew Banza would never pick his side now. Enraged, he ordered an all-out attack on the humans. Meanwhile, the cowardly hero ran away again. Banza and his family were teleported to the west of the kingdom, being out near Hofo town, far from both the hero and the Demon King. The girls were just happy to live peacefully there, but war was now inevitable. That's where episode 4 ends. And until next time, take care.
So far, we've seen Jinwoo in the middle of the job change quest. After a fierce battle, he defeats with great difficulty. Just as he thinks it's over, he's ambushed by an army of soldiers. Summoning all of his strength and tapping into his new abilities, Jinwoo manages to defeat them. After the fight, he uses his shadow powers to turn the soldiers into his minions, binding them to his will. Now the story continues. After the intense battle, Jinwoo is sleeping peacefully, only to be woken up by a phone call from Gina. Gina reminds him that today is her parent-teacher meeting. Later, Jinwoo arrives at the meeting looking surprisingly well-dressed. As they walk through the school halls, Jinwoo unintentionally draws attention, with many girls whispering and stealing glances at him. Gina notices and teases him for not having a girlfriend, offering to introduce him to someone. However, Jinwoo quickly shuts down the idea, visibly annoyed. During the meeting, Gina's teacher is full of praise for her, calling her an exemplary student and a role model. She highlights Gina's strong performance in mock exams and expresses confidence in her ability to get into medical school. The teacher advises Jinwoo not to pressure Gina too much, to which Jinwoo agrees, mentions she has a favor to ask. The scene then shifts to Jinwoo meeting Suni, who is surprised to see him. Jinwoo reveals that he's Gina's brother. Suni quickly realizes that the teacher must have sent him to convince her to quit being a hunter. Instead, he asks her to follow him elsewhere. Meanwhile, we cut to Jano greeting Dongwoo upon his arrival in Japan. Dongwoo is surprised to be met personally by the chief of the Hunter Association and sarcastically